Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video on this new YouTube channel that we all started for like a group YouTube channel. I still haven't come up with a name for it yet. I guess we'll work on that later. I haven't even made the channel yet, but yeah, and I'm doing this video with Lord Pasta. Say hello, Lord Pasta.
Hey, what's up? It's Lord Pasta.
Yes, so we, the two of us, have just recently, since the new Rogue One movie came out, have went and seen that movie, and now we are going to give our thoughts on it. So, yeah, I guess I'll start off, Lord Pasta. What were your overall thoughts of the movie?
Okay, so I saw it just a few days ago, and I thought it was overall pretty good. Just looking at it from an overall perspective. The first part was a bit choppy because you had a lot of different planets like coming out and like different scenes and different locations. And for the first time in the Star Wars universe, they used like little location subtexts to indicate, where it was, because it was kind of confusing.
Well, because they had to, because otherwise you wouldn't know.
Yeah, they had to. You wouldn't know. But overall, I could follow through that, but I could see how that could be like a little bit confusing. But after that, once the story sort of settled into line, there's a little bit of a boring part in the middle. But once they start with the actual action sequences, it gets really good really fast.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to say, just right off the top, is my favorite part is the Vader scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
As pointless to the even though the Vader scenes are technically pointless to the story, they were awesome and I loved them. But one thing I'm gonna say was is that I think a lot of the issues that you just mentioned were a lot due to I guess the fact that there was a lot of like reshoots and stuff that they did like at last second, which was like I was just hearing about that recently because like as soon as I watched it, as soon as I was done watching it, I went and like looked up a bunch of reviews on it and stuff just to see what other people thought, because that's what I do when I watch movies. I watch reviews of them afterwards. And another thing, like this is kind of the way I thought like throughout when I was watching it, is starting out like for the first like third of it or so, like the first probably the first act, I'd say, maybe a little bit more than that. I was just kind of trying, like all I was doing was trying to figure out what exactly is going on, who the characters were. I'm like, I'm just kind of like confused, like wait, what's going on? But I think even though like starting off, it like the plot seems very confusing and all over the place, I think once you start to understand what's going on, then I think it all kind of fits together well, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of exposition, a lot of explaining in the first part. It's not all clear.
Yeah, like, a lot of stuff where you're like, wait, what was that?
Wondering who is this person who's like a farmer or something.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I mean, I think that first scene though, I don't think was too bad in terms of that, but like a lot of the ones in between though.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually did really like that first scene though.
Yeah, I mean, but it was a little bit confusing because like you don't know who any of the people are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't immediately go into explaining who they are. You learn that later throughout like the
and one of the biggest criticisms that a lot of people have on this that I noticed is that the characters there wasn't much character development, there wasn't much, you don't get to know the characters very well, which I would say but at the same time it's like,
it's true.
I think they did and I think they did a good job though with what they had and with what they were trying to do though. Like that they weren't trying to get their characters to be well known.
Exactly, yeah. And I think a lot of the people who I did see reviews, I think I saw the Plinkett review, or I don't know if that's the one you saw, where basically all they said the whole time was the characters were horrible, and they did things that made no sense in the Star Wars universe and stuff like that, which is true. And the thing that bugs me more is that the fact that they They didn't do stuff that was in the Star Wars universe. The character development thing was kind of just like a side note. That wasn't really important. That wasn't something that I was looking for in the movie to begin with. Honestly, I was looking at it more. It's like a blockbuster. It's
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be like, this is Star Wars. Look at Star Wars. That's the way it's supposed to be, honestly.
Well, and I wasn't necessarily see because like going into it, I didn't expect there to be a lot of character development, considering the fact that there was like a lot of characters in this, and I pretty much knew beforehand. Like I could tell that probably most likely all the characters were gonna end up dying in the end, like they did. Oh yeah, spoiler warning by the way.
We all knew
okay.
that.
When I'm editing it, I'm gonna put a spoiler warning at the beginning, just
Yeah.
because I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But anyways, all the characters died in the end. Like, I pretty much knew that. So because I knew there was this many new characters that we've never seen before, and I knew that they were probably all going to die in the end, I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of character development. It was kind of obvious, to be honest.
Yeah.
For me, anyways. So I wasn't really expecting it.
Really, how would you fit in character development when so many people are probably just gonna think, well, these people are gonna die?
Well, see, and then if they had spent the whole time working through this character development, then they wouldn't have had a lot more. They wouldn't have had much time for the actual story of the actual plot of the movie. And I think they did a decent job at balancing it, even if the editing in the beginning was a little all over the place.
Yeah.
But
if you can get through the first part, and a little bit of the middle chunks, then the end is, believe me, it was worth it.
Yes.
Honestly.
The final act of the movie was just amazing. It was really well done. I thought. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And some of the effects that they used, like doing like face scans of some of the old actors who played the fighter pilots, that was great.
And okay, now that we're mentioning that, we have to talk about CG Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Well, it kind of detracted, honestly. In my opinion, the attempt was good. It was good.
It was done really well compared to like what we've seen before in other like movies. Like, it was done really well, I have to say.
From a technical standpoint, I had to applaud that, because it must have been really hard, especially with like, he's got a lot of wrinkles and stuff. He's Tarkin, he's an old guy.
Well,
so what I think they could have done better was like the mouth.
Oh yeah, I know, like that's the one thing that everybody was saying, but I mean, I didn't think it was as bad as, like, because it was like some reviews I was watching where people were like, oh, it was just awful. I couldn't like pay attention during those scenes. It was just and like I don't think it was quite that bad for me. Like, I don't know. It was just
really, the only problem I saw with it was that the mouth didn't move correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have passed with the CG effect.
Yes.
But the mouth it didn't fit.
What a lot of people were saying, so like the first time you see him, he's like facing a window and you see his reflection in the window. And what a lot of people were saying is that looked a lot better, so they felt like it would have been better if like it only showed that of him and like didn't show him face on, like, I don't know. But I don't know. I still think they did a decent job with it.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, and General Tarkin was never like a major part of it. I mean, I guess he kind of is. Well, because he took over control from the other guy.
But like another thing that I was thinking is like Tarkin. What's the name of the original actor? Peter Cushing. He must be a really difficult person to do that with, though. Like, I honestly just he had such a unique like way, I guess, and like way he like walks and talks and like the way he moves and stuff, just so unique that it's just like it was definitely a really difficult thing for them to do, and I think they did a decent job at it. Like for instance, at the end when you see the part with Leia, I think that was done better, but at the same time I think it was easier for them because Leia's face is a lot a lot more.
Her
It's
face
a
is much smoother.
much smoother and stuff, and it was a lot easier to do. Yeah, definitely. And also, obviously, she's only in that quick little part, so it's easy to just do a little part where she just turns around and says "hope."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. So, one thing I guess we could talk about is so what did you think of some of the different kind of, I guess, Easter eggs hidden throughout this for like other movies, for even some of the TV shows like Star Wars: The Clone Wars and stuff? There was even Easter eggs for those type of things. There was actually tons of Easter eggs in this movie, probably more than like any of the other Star Wars movies even.
Yeah, there's
So
probably more than I noticed because I only saw it once and I haven't like watched any like the Easter eggs like revealed or any of that thing.
Yeah.
But I do know that there was that one what was it called? Like that spaceship that came and rammed into the Star Destroyer, and that was a spaceship from the
wasn't that from Rebels or something like that?
Yeah, that was from Rebels. I think.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that. And I also heard the one guy. Oh my gosh, what's his name? The guy in like the who had like the robotic legs and whatever. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
See, that's another problem I noticed with this movie is after leaving
You
it,
can't remember.
there are some of the most forgettable names. Like you remember the characters, you remember the people, but you don't remember the names at all.
I remember Jyn Ursa though.
Yeah, I remember that,
the main,
and I remember K2SO, the robot.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember any of the other ones. It's just all the names are a blur to me. It's just like whatever. But yeah, anyways, you probably know who I'm talking about. The guy who's like
I know.
So supposedly, I guess that guy was actually a character who was in an episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I didn't realize it, and then like I saw it in like a video or something, and like they showed a picture of him, and I was like, oh, I remember him from one. He was like in 1 or 2 episodes of it or something, and I was like, oh, that was weird.
I saw that same video that you're probably talking about.
Yeah,
it was the only one of those Easter egg revealed videos that I watched. So
yeah, I don't think. I think I watched like maybe one of them, but like it was just weird to see that. And then the guys from episode 4, that were in the Mos Eisley Cantina, the.
Oh yeah, those are the same people.
There was like in the one part they like bumped into him on the one planet. I have the death sentence on 12 systems. That guy.
Yeah, that guy. I know.
I like that.
That one seemed a bit out of place though. Like
yeah, it was.
Some
just
of the things,
that one seemed random.
This is a good criticism that people bring up, is that some of the things, the nods, were like really out of place, especially the R2-D2 and C-3PO.
I think that one was probably my least favorite out of all the Easter eggs, because that one was just random, out of place. Like I feel like I understand they were doing it as more of a, because technically R2-D2 and C-3PO are in every Star Wars movie, so they were kind of trying to keep true to that. But I think they could have done it in a more subtle way, like maybe at the end.
They could have had him do something, because they're on the ship at the end.
That's true. I felt like they could have been like, even if they were just like standing next to Leia at the end and that's it. Like you just see them, you don't hear them talk. They were just there. Like, even that would have been better. Just kind of be like, hey, technically they're in every movie, because I mean that's the reason why they did it. So that was just, I thought, a little weird, because it's just like out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh, C-3PO and R2-D2, okay, what? And then like
and that was during the good part of the movie.
Yeah, and I feel like
I was watching it and I was like, okay, this doesn't fit.
And I feel like if they had like been there, like in the background at some point, it wouldn't have been as bad. Like the fact that he actually had a line that he said was the part that kind of like, the fact that C-3PO actually said something was like, whoa. It just kind of like takes you out for a second. It was almost like he was
saying it to the camera. Like, I forget what he said exactly, but it was almost like,
it was something about, oh, they're going to wherever nobody tells me anything, or something weird like that. But yeah, oh yeah, and one little thing that I loved that they did. So you know how every Star Wars movie has the line. This is something that I've never seen anybody else point out before in any other videos. Strangely, because like I noticed it right away when they did it. Because you know how every Star Wars movie they use the line. I have a bad feeling about this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Did you remember that from this movie?
I think someone did say it in the movie.
So, okay, so this is how it went down. So this I think was a very clever way to do it. So they were it was when they were going into the Imperial base on Edu, which was the planet at the end where they got the plans from, the planet with the beach planet. It was when they were first going in there. It was like K2SO and then Jin and I can't remember the guy's name, the main male character, whatever his name was.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
He was the one who was like a rebel since he was like 6 or whatever, that guy.
Yeah,
anyways, there was like those three, and then K2SO is just like, I have a bad feeling. Like he almost said, I have a bad feeling about this, but like they stopped him and they're like, shut up. And it was just, I liked that he didn't say the full line, because it was as if they were saying, no, you can't say that. This is just a spin-off movie. This isn't an actual Star Wars movie. You can't say that. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I didn't catch up on that.
I noticed it right away because I was like, oh, he's saying I have a bad feeling about this, and they're just like, shut up, and he didn't even say it completely, and I was like, oh, look at that. It was as if it was like a nod to the audience, like, yeah, by the way, this is not a Star Wars movie. This is just a Star Wars story. Okay, it's not a full Star Wars movie. That was interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and speaking of that, you might have noticed, like, at the beginning they didn't have the crawl at the beginning with the words and stuff across the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed right off the bat. And a lot of people talk about it because but it's not necessarily a plus or minus.
Yeah, I mean, not really, because like,
or adder.
I don't know, because it was interesting how they like use it as a way to like play with your expectations, because like I was expecting it, because they start off with the thing that says, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the exact text that they use in every movie for that part. And like in every single time I've ever seen that in one of the movies, because like I literally just went through and watched all the other Star Wars movies before watching this, like the week or so before. And so like I'm expecting, because in each movie, as soon as it says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, immediately goes into the title screen and starts the music and then does the crawl across the screen. And so like I was just expecting it, and then it's just like, oh wait, it didn't happen. What? It's just weird.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you've like been marathoning.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see where this movie fits when you're doing like a marathon of the Star Wars movies.
Like I definitely
do you put it where it's supposed to be, or do you watch all of them in order and then watch it?
Well, I think the way next time I watch all of the movies, because I think that's what I'm gonna do, is every year a new Star Wars movie comes out, and I'm gonna watch all the other ones before watching it. That's just a thing I'm gonna do now. Every year, is I think next time I watch it, what I'm gonna do next time is watch that after episode 3 and then episode 4, just to kind of see, because you know this movie Rogue One ends right where episode 4 starts, because I just kind of want to see what the transition is like watching that, then immediately watching episode 4, just because they fit like right there.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because I just kind of want to see
there's
that.
a lot of debate about which order you should watch the Star Wars movies in, and this just makes it more complicated because you know.
Okay, I would say if for your first time ever watching Star Wars, I would say start with the original trilogy, then do the prequels, and then you know go on from there. But like once you've already seen all the movies and you already know what's going to happen in all the movies, I think it doesn't matter at that point, really. I mean, I don't know. Like I just watch them in order from episode 1
I think you should
up.
Start. I think you should start with Rogue One and then watch the original series, and then go back and watch the prequels.
Yeah, you could also do it like that. Yeah, that is another way to do it too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Because Rogue One gets you pumped up for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like you watch
like,
that and you'd be like,
Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah. That is an interesting way to do it, I guess. But yeah, and then another was like I was going to say something. Oh yeah, and so what did you think in terms of like comparing it to other Star Wars movies, though?
I don't think you should compare it to other Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
I mean it is what it's a standalone film.
See,
but that fits into the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, see that's
what really gets me is how sometimes in this movie, the characters don't act like they should in a Star Wars movie. Like, it's over dramatized.
Yeah,
Really,
that, and
it's over
I
dramatized, and
kind of,
that's something that other people say.
and I think I kind of like that that it does, like, it doesn't really feel like a Star Wars movie, but at the same time, like, because the way that everything is, and like, but I don't think it's supposed to, because it's not really, it's just a Star Wars story. It's not a Star Wars movie. So I kind of like that it's a
Well,
completely different tone and stuff.
I think we might disagree because one of the main things that, especially after watching reviews about it, that I really caught up on was the fact that guy in the robot suit who like had to breathe oxygen and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he just stood there and died.
Yeah, okay.
When
That
Death
I
Star blew up.
definitely,
Like
that one, yeah, he could have gotten out of there. That made no, I
like
didn't
you just
understand what
asking
happened.
why.
Yeah, I didn't really understand
All common sense will tell you
that
that
whole,
like he'd run.
yeah. Yeah, and plus it's like it almost felt to me like they had like a wasted character, because he seemed like he could have been an interesting character, and it's like, oh, but he's dead now. Wait, what? Like you could have used him for something more in the story. I don't know. Yeah.
Like, I mean, this guy could have been in like the Alliance or something like that, but nope. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess he had to have died.
Although the Alliance
somehow
didn't,
because there's not many other.
the Alliance didn't like him or whatever, because he was like,
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
like
he
extreme.
left.
He was like, he was like extreme or something. He was like,
he was overly militant because
yeah.
like he had a bunch of like fighters and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. And oh yeah, one thing I did like is that they got the guy who played Bail Organa in like the prequels to be there for like the Rebels. He was like Bail Organa.
Yeah,
I liked that because
they got a whole bunch of people to come back. That was good.
But like I liked that they got him specifically, because that kind of helps bring the original trilogy together more with the prequels. It helps kind of help bridge the gap between the original trilogy and the prequels, because it's like, oh, there's a character who was in the prequels, but he's now in a movie that takes place just before this, in like that has characters from the original trilogy or whatever. It's just interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I also kind of liked how like it was weird, because like the last time you see him, he's just like, oh yeah, I'm going back to Alderaan, and you're just like, no, don't go back, it's gonna blow up.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was like, oh, so he did die,
Because like you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but
which is why I think you should.
Yeah, but that was always a question I had, like after watching the prequels. And then, having already seen, because, the first time I ever watched the movies, I always, I watched the original trilogy first. And, like, watching the prequels, I was always like, well, okay, that's Leia's dad. I'm like, but, what happened to him? I always wondered, what happened to him? Did he die on Alderaan, or was he still alive, or did he just not, or was he just not there? And then this kind of answered that question. I was like, okay, so like I would just assume that he probably died on Alderaan, because obviously he lived there. But then I was like, this kind of confirmed that, because he's like, I'm going back to Alderaan. I'm like, yeah, yep, he's gonna die. And also, I like how he was like, oh yes, I need to send a message to like an old friend or whatever, and he's like, I will send the message with somebody, and they're like, who is this? And it's like, somebody, like, do you trust her? And they're like, I trust her with my life. And it's like, oh, it's Leia that he's talking about. So he basically told Leia to send a message to Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think, which is why she had her message.
That's the whole premise of A New Hope.
Because it explains that, because you're wondering, wait, why is Leia going for Obi-Wan Kenobi? She never knew Obi-Wan Kenobi. She doesn't know anything about him. It's like, oh, because Bail told her to, and and obviously he knew him, and
it ties things up.
Yeah,
pretty good.
That's another thing I like about it, is it ties some questions that you have about some of the movies and stuff. It ties some of the things up a little bit, and especially the big one that everybody talks about, which is the Death Star weakness that everybody,
Yeah.
That
that was the whole premise of the story almost.
Yeah, I love how they did that, because like that's another thing is I love how they threw in some things that I wasn't expecting, because I mean, for the most part the plot of the movie was very predictable. Like, we all knew what the basic premise of the movie was going to be. It's like, oh yeah, these people are going to go get the plans to the Death Star. It's going to show that. So it was, I like that they threw in some things that to make it that you wouldn't expect to happen, but did.
Yeah, and especially now with knowing that, like, the weakness in the Death Star was intentional, it kind of makes more sense why they would build a second Death Star, because they still think they have a super weapon that's indestructible, but
they're like,
they're
this
just
time we
change
won't
one
build it without
thing.
it's just, the only difference is obviously they got
it. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Although this is another thing that a lot of people were saying, is that this also brings up a plot hole to The Force Awakens. Like, what about Starkiller Base? Why is Starkiller Base so easy to destroy, or whatever? Like, did this same thing happen? And I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. That's one thing that a lot of people were mentioning in like things that I watched. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the thing about that was the only thing I didn't like about The Force Awakens.
Oh yeah, that was
why
the big
another
thing.
Giant ball in space?
Well, yeah, and it's like I understood why they did like different parallels to like the original movie. They did a lot of things to make it seem like it was a lot really similar to A New Hope, which I thought in general was fine, because it's like, this is just the one starting off the trilogy, and this is how we're gonna start it off. But I think when they did the whole Starkiller Base thing, that was when they took it one step too far, where it was like, that's just too much. I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, back to Force Awakens. Another thing you notice that I noticed is like how different it is to other Star Wars movies. I like how the focus of the movie isn't on the Force or the big main character heroes or anything.
Yeah, it's more like orientated over like a goal.
Yeah, and
getting the Death Star plans.
And it's like, and it's also it's like a military movie. It's like a war movie, basically, is what a lot of people are saying. They compare it to.
Yeah, that's why it's so over dramatized.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way that the director made it.
And that's another thing, is like the characters weren't developed that well, but like, watch any war movie, usually they're not. So it was done very similar to like a typical war movie, I think, which is one of the main reasons why they were, yeah, which is why all the people died in the end. A lot of people die in war movies.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the reason why they don't have big character arcs, because they're all gonna die in the end, and that's not what matters.
Well, and like the whole thing is, and I think that adds to the overall message of the movie, which is more like, the message I would say is more, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, as long as you are able to work towards a common goal, I guess. It's kind of that was kind of the idea, what I got out of it when I watched it, is like, it was all about everybody just working together as a team to obtain a common goal. Something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna look for like a message in it, I'm not the kind of person who like looks for messages in like stuff like this.
I usually don't.
I think the message is Star Wars.
Yeah. No, but like,
cool it is.
like I don't usually look for a message in movies like this, especially a Star Wars movie. But like, it just like, that's what I saw when I like watched it. Like, that's just what it looked like to me, is that they were trying, that it was almost like and it was just like, I don't know, and it was just interesting, because the thing about this movie
I
is,
see it too.
Yeah, is it gets a lot more into what the rebellion really was and really is, because like in the other movies you really don't see much of what the rebellion does and what the war between the rebellion and the empire is actually like, and what's this, you get into that a little bit more, which was nice to see, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the things that I definitely liked. All the different like new things that we now know added to the universe.
Well, yeah, and like,
we got more theories to be made, more stuff like that.
Yes.
I mean, and I always enjoy watching some of those.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and okay, so I guess we could talk about how you liked some of the characters. So, favorite character?
Um, oh gosh. Well, I think Jin Urso did a good in her
Uh huh.
part. Her character was
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah.
As a main character overall.
Yeah,
Um,
she definitely got the most character development out of anyone.
her and that
Most
other
character
guy,
arc
that
thing,
other guy
whatever.
who's like we don't know his name. None of us can remember. But
The other
him,
main
he
the
was the other good one. He was the other good one who I thought was a good character. They're the two that I remember the most.
hmm
Um, being character wise, but like I just can't help thinking about what's the name of the droid again?
K2SO.
K2SO. Yeah,
He
that's right.
he
Uh,
was
he's memorable. Like you
yes,
remember like the things that
one
he
definitely one of
does.
the most memorable characters. He was a well done comedy relief character because it's like, first off, the things he says are actually funny, unlike Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and
He was funny because that
yeah.
like it was just the way that he was. Like
Yeah, and like it's not overdone too. It's like it doesn't get to the point where you're just like, okay, stop telling jokes and let's get on. Whereas
yeah,
like,
he didn't tell jokes. He was the joke
yeah,
because that like
it was
was the
just
way
the
that he
way he
was.
says things. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. And another thing that I hate is when like they have a comedy relief character in something, and like they're the only person who ever says anything funny. And like in this,
Yeah,
they didn't do that. Like other characters had funny lines too, and so it was like it kind of it doesn't feel like he's there just for comedy relief, even though one of them obviously that's one of the main reasons he was there because he
oh
obviously
yeah,
had
and
he had more
talk
funny
about
ones,
not
but
just there for comedy relief. That scene where he's fending off
yeah,
when
yeah,
Jin Ursa is trying to receive the codes and all that stuff.
yeah.
That was a great
I mean, like,
scene.
yeah, he is genuinely just a fun character to have along.
Yeah,
It's
definitely, I
like
agree.
it's like it's like a C3PO who can actually fight.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then oh yeah, the other two like I guess main characters. Well, I mean, I guess there was three other ones, but like the two who were at the temple place where they were there where they were getting the kyber crystals, the two that were like there as like guardians of it or whatever. The
Oh yeah, the two that they like bring along.
those two, I love them, especially oh my gosh, I cannot remember the names, but the guy, the force guy, the force is with me. I'm
Yeah,
one with
the
the
blind
force.
one.
I love him so much. Um,
Yeah, he was a good character. Like,
he and and another thing I liked about him is it's nice to see a character who's like, it's nice to see a character who's kind of has like is knows about the force and stuff, but isn't a Jedi.
yeah, exactly.
Because like so far it's like all the characters who were like know things about the force and whatever have always been Jedi or Sith or whatever. Now it's like somebody who's not but is still kind of able to use the force ish.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Um.
think, I think, those two characters, had a nice, were like,
Yeah.
a good side characters, and
They
they had their own thing going on,
and
and they were
they
good.
had a very interesting friendship as well with each other too,
Exactly.
which was
And
fun to see.
it was just like one of those things that's good to see in a movie. Like,
Yeah.
you got your main characters, and then you got your side characters, and they were good side characters.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I liked about like in the end final battle scene is how each character actually had an important did something important to get the mission done.
Yeah,
Because like
exactly. Yeah,
the pilot guy, the guy who defected from the Empire or whatever, that pilot, he actually didn't something important. He called out to the people who were in the space battle and told them to destroy the thing. So he had an important thing to do. The one people pulled the lever or whatever, so he could do that. And then like I guess in those other ones, but like each one did something for them to complete the mission overall, which was cool.
Yeah, that was a good aspect of the movie. It was like they all had a purpose, and they all fulfilled it.
There was no character that you felt was unneeded or didn't need to be there for anything, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And so and I don't know, it's hard for me to choose a favorite character, but I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Although like whenever I think of the characters, first thing I do think of is the blind guy. I still can't remember his name. Oh, who also had probably the funniest line in the movie when they like.
Oh, what was that?
Remember when they like put the they were like blindfolding everyone because they were taking him, and then they like put it over his head, and he's just like, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind." Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a funny little line of it. But yeah, I don't know, in general. Oh, and space battle at the end, amazing. Just
that was great. The space battle was superb.
Yeah. Like compared to like a lot of the other movies, it was just like, especially Force Awakens, because space battle in that was just very forgettable.
Yeah.
Like
it was all about the destroying the what was it called? I can't even remember. Star Killer base. And which was the same thing as destroying the Death Star.
Well, and it's like
just over and over.
And the thing
again.
is, they did the same thing in like Return of the Jedi, where they destroyed another Death Star.
But that was different because
that was different.
They had Luke and Darth Vader and the Emperor.
Yeah. And also they actually made it a good space battle, anyways. Good that was different than the space battle from Episode 4. That was actually quite a bit different. It wasn't like
exactly, yeah.
And then and also in like Force Awakens, it was just there wasn't much focus on it, and every time it went to the space battle, you really couldn't tell what was going on in it, and it was just like whatever. It just wasn't that amazing or anything. I don't know. Whereas this space battle was just awesome, and
yeah, there's nothing wrong with the space battle.
When
near the end, when Darth Vader comes onto the ship, that is the single best scene, I think. In my opinion,
it's just
I don't know
cool.
if you feel
it's
the
just
same, but that was the. Yeah, go ahead.
That's one of those scenes where it's just like you're just like throughout that scene, like it doesn't really add to the story or anything. It's just cool. It's just like you're just having a nerdgasm during that scene. You're just like,
oh yeah, exactly.
Darth frickin' Vader. Just awesome.
Just the way that he just like blocked every single person's like fire, and he was just like walking down
he's
there.
Like using the force on a couple of them, slashing a couple of them, and the people are like extremely afraid for their lives. Like the guy's like, "Let us out, help me!" And like, it's just like you could tell like the fear that everybody had for him. They're just like, "Crap, Darth Vader's gonna slaughter us." Yeah, that was cool. What did you think of the other Darth Vader scene though?
I thought it was pretty good. Especially like with, like the opening scene where we get to see him in like his tub of like water.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know what you call that.
Back the tank.
Back the tank, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but
and that was something new.
I loved that they showed us where Vader lives, which was
it's Mustafar.
Yeah, it is.
It is Mustafar. So that's
which is interesting.
Interesting.
Which and that's another thing that a lot of people noticed is that that when they went to that planet, that's the only planet that didn't have a title saying what the name of the planet was. So I feel like they did that on purpose. So they were like, let's see if people are able to figure out what planet this is, based on obviously because it was in Episode 3, which I think is very interesting. Which now obviously Vader's castle or whatever it was supposed to be was actually some concept art that was done for Empire Strikes Back that they never actually used. So that was interesting that they like pulled from things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was originally supposed to be like on a lava planet or whatever too, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so that was cool. I like the thing about the Vader scenes is they were cool and all. It's just it didn't feel like they added a lot to the story, which was the like main problem. They didn't seem like they were needed for the movie, but they were still good scenes. So
Yeah,
whatever.
and the reason why is because the story isn't about Vader. It was about receiving the Death Star plans.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and everything else just sort of happens around it, which makes it really cool. And the Vader scene was just one of the many things that just made it cool on top
And
of it.
I love when he's choking the guy, and like you look, and then like you don't even see his hand like in the motion. He's just like you see him from the back, and then he turns around, and his hand isn't like in that like choking motion that he does. Then he just like lets him go. It's just like, don't
exactly.
choke on your aspirations. That was just a cool line, I guess. And another thing. What did you think about the I guess main villain or whatever the guy was? Krennic or whatever.
I think he was pretty good as a main villain.
Yeah.
It was good to have just like one main villain. It was definitely interesting.
Well, yeah, because like I wasn't really expecting that. Like I was expecting the main, I guess, villain to be like Vader or like or Tarkin or something like
someone
that.
Else.
But I thought it was interesting that they created a new character for that, which I think was cool. It showed that they were actually putting more effort into it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it wasn't just them versus the Empire. It was them versus this guy.
Yeah, who the Empire ends up pretty much killing in the end, because they're like, we're just gonna kill everything down there. We don't care that he's down there. Like,
exactly.
He built the Death Star for us. His use for us is done. Yeah. And I thought he was interesting. He played the part well, and like, I just loved how he's just like constantly in this movie like, the Death Star is my creation. You can't take that away from me. And then Tarkin's just like, yeah, I don't care. I'm taking it from you. Just love that.
Yeah,
he was an interesting character and everything.
They make references to the Imperial Senate.
Oh, they did. And, that's right, they did.
Yeah, and how it was not going to be a problem soon. So that was a good reference there.
Yeah, that is true.
I think they slipped that one in good.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other ones.
Yeah, because it wasn't like too obvious or out of place, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and another thing I have to mention about this movie is probably some of the best cinematography in like any Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
Just it had some amazing shots, and just how everything was shot, and everything was just amazing. Like that's one big thing I noticed. Like I don't know if you noticed it. This is something that stuck out to me a lot when I watched it. Is the first time they show the Death Star in the movie. I don't know if you remember how they like showed it. Do you?
Oh yeah, I remember. So every shot of the Death Star was like great.
No, but like the first time where they revealed the Death Star in the movie, because they had like a Star Destroyer, and it was like emerged from like the shadows.
Yeah, I saw that from the trailer too. Yeah, and that was a really good scene.
Now I don't remember that from the trailer, so I wasn't expecting it. So I only watched
crazy good.
I only watched the trailer like once. But yeah, and it like came out, and I was like, whoa! And then like you can't even tell the Death Star is behind it, because it looks like stars, but then as it goes to like a different angle, you can see that it's not actually stars. It's actually like the lights from the Death Star, and I was just like, whoa! Like that was a really cool way to do it. Like I guess it was just like really clever way to reveal it. I guess that was
all the shots of like the Death Star and of like space like ships and stuff like that were all really good. Like They looked like they were actual like props, but like they were able to like animate the ships crashing into each other and stuff like that, which was like, it was a new level of like realism for like space battles, I think.
Yeah, I think it was probably the most realistic looking space battle out of all of them, I think. Probably one of the most, I guess, like realistic looking in general in a lot of things, I guess. Just things looking like they're really there. I mean, I guess with the exception of maybe Tarkin, because his like mouth was off or whatever.
Yeah.
But
But
you
that's
know,
not
but that
really part of the space battle.
right that I mean I was talking about everything in general, but yeah,
Oh,
that's
everything in general, yeah.
but yeah, um, yeah, but it was something I was going to say, but yeah, in general, like all the space battle is awesome. I'm trying to think of those. Like I know there was something else I was going to say, but oh yeah, and another thing that I noticed there were like you could another thing that I thought was a little bit of a problem with it though is you could tell there was like you could tell that there was a lot of reshoots and a lot of scenes thrown in last minute and stuff because especially with the one scene with the weird mind reading creature thing.
Yeah, that didn't really get a good explanation to it.
Yeah,
I think it was supposed to happen. Uh, and I might be wrong here, but he said something about you lose your ability to think when he looks into your mind or something like that. And so that's why the pilot was like he like was kind of out of it when he was in
yeah,
his cell.
but the thing is that didn't lead to anywhere. There was really no reason for that. It
Yeah,
didn't.
it would be interesting to see like if that like affects him while he's like
Yeah, if they were like
trying
later
to do
on trying
stuff.
to get information out of him, but they couldn't because he was like out of it or whatever. But they didn't. They didn't
Yeah,
go in.
and
They didn't go
they
anywhere with
kind of
that.
played with that too when they were escaping, and he was like not knowing what was going
He's
on,
just
and they
there.
had
He's
to
just
like
like
go back and get
I'm the
him.
pilot. I'm a pilot. I'm the pilot, and like constantly. Like what the first time you see him in there, but like that didn't lead anywhere. Which I feel like they were probably going to, but like because there was just so many reshoots and so many like scenes added in last second, so many things cut out last second. I feel like a lot of
Because
that
it's like
is
you
what
just see
caused
him
it.
in like the ship once, and he's like he's just like uh in it again. Like
You're
you're
like,
like,
oh, okay,
okay,
yeah.
he's
That
okay
that
now.
whole weird tentacle creature thing was pointless. Yeah. Um. But yeah. Overall, extremely well shot movie. Action was amazing. I liked pretty much all the characters. They did well what they were supposed to do. Yeah, and in general, everything was done the way it was supposed to be done. Well, I think it did well. What it was trying to do. I think. So
Yes, exactly.
so I think,
Um,
and in the end, I think
yeah,
that is how you measure a film's success: is did it do what it was supposed to do? Did it do what it was trying to do? And I think this one did.
exactly. Yeah, I agree. What I thought of it was that it was a very good film. Uh, based solely upon like the final act basically did it for me. The
Yeah.
first and the middle were like sort of like okay, I'm getting to learn the information to the story and stuff like that and how things are set up. But then the final act came along and it all fell right into place
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Yeah.
epic.
Well, because like once you start to get to the end, you really start to realize, you really start to connect the dots of oh, that's what that was earlier on. Oh, that's what all those scenes at the beginning meant. And then you start to connect the dots and you figure out how everything connects, and then that's when it gets good. And
Exactly.
and another thing is I think it's going to be interesting to go back and watch it a second time, because the second time I'm not going to be constantly trying to figure out what's going on. So during the first two acts or whatever, I can really look at it and try to see what I can notice that I never noticed before. I think that's going to be fun to do
Yeah,
whenever I see it again.
it'll definitely be interesting to see if this has any rewatch value or if it
Yeah.
has a significant amount of rewatch value.
I
Because I
feel like
think
it
it
will.
will.
I think
Because it's based off of like action and like
yes.
that kind of
I
stuff
mean,
that
really good
is easy to
action
rewatch.
always has rewatch value. Yeah, and I mean, in general, I think all the Star Wars movies have rewatch value. I enjoy watching
Oh yeah, definitely.
every single
They're the
Star Wars
only
movie again.
movies that I watch more than like once,
Yeah, yeah,
honestly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Honestly, like I've watched all the like Star Wars movies more times than like any other movies. Especially the original trilogy. I've seen those like so many times because like before I ever watched the prequels, we used to watch the original trilogy like all the time. Like me and my brothers loved it. We would watch it like over and over again all the time. Um, yeah, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. we'd always catch like once a year. They'd play all the movies in a row, and we'd try to catch that and watch
Yeah,
all of them
yeah.
like in a row on TV.
But yeah. So, anyways, another thing I guess I was gonna talk about is are you excited for the future of Star Wars? I guess. I mean, probably are.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
A lot of people they say, oh, this is the new Star Wars. There's gonna be another one every year. That's so bad. No, it's not. Honestly, in my
yeah.
opinion, I think that's great
Well, as long
because
as they continue to, like the thing is, you can tell the people that are making them really like Star Wars and are really
the amount
passionate
of
about
effort,
what they're
the
doing.
amount of
Yeah,
effort, yeah. If they
yeah.
keep on hitting them at the same part, which I'm really interested. The next Star Wars story is that going to be about
I
Han Solo,
think the
right?
next one is Han Solo, which I'm a little. I don't know. I feel like that one's not going to be as good though, because I mean, first off, obviously, they won't be using Harrison Ford, so it's like not the same or whatever. But also, it's just I don't know. I just feel like what kind of I don't know. I guess it could be good.
It'll be different. It'll
It'll
probably
be
be
it'll be interesting.
more.
I'll put it
It'll
that
be
way.
less of an action. It'll be probably less
Yeah,
action
it'll be more.
and more.
Maybe more of an origin story kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they'll show
Definitely,
how he got his
it'll
Millennium
probably be
Falcon
taking
and
place
whatever.
during like the end of the Clone Wars and stuff like that. So there might be some stuff in there
Possibly.
about that.
Well,
Definitely, I'm waiting for that one.
yeah, yeah. I don't know about maybe possibly end of the Clone Wars. I don't know. I guess maybe.
Yeah, maybe not, maybe.
Because he would be like really young during that. I guess. Probably.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
he's probably like.
Oh yeah, and it's supposed to be about him being like a bit older.
Yeah, I
Because
mean.
I thought originally they were gonna do it when he was like a kid. Because I know he did
Yeah.
appear as a kid in one of the Clone Wars episodes.
No,
Or
it was a Lego thing they did. I think a Lego movie thing.
maybe that might have been that.
That was
But
it was. Yeah, 'cause I saw that.
Think there
I
might
don't
have
think it
been
was
that.
actually in the show, but yeah. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I am definitely gonna be interested in seeing that. See, that's one thing I like about them doing the Star Wars story things, the spin-off ones, is that with these movies you're gonna get to see things that you would never get to see in a normal Star Wars movies, because the normal Star Wars movies have to focus on, the big main characters. They have to focus on Skywalker family. They have to focus on the Force, the battle between good and evil, and all that stuff. And they can't focus.
Exactly, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see them focusing on other things that don't have to do with all that. Which I think the Rogue One did well.
Exactly, yeah. I for one
Yeah.
can't wait to see what they'll do, especially in Episode 8 and with the next Han
Yeah.
Solo Star Wars story movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I am interested in seeing definitely interested in seeing episode 8. I can't wait for that now. Just like seeing episode 7 again, and I'm like, oh, I really want to see where they go with this, because I mean they started off very similar to like A New Hope, but I don't think they're going to continue that way. Like
Yeah, I
doing
think
it
they're going to
similar.
go radically different.
Yes,
I think it's radically
I
different
hope they
next.
do, because if they go the same, then there'd almost be like no point in them making it. It's like
Exactly,
why
yeah.
add on to a story if it doesn't progress the story any, you know. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested in seeing how the future of Star Wars goes. Let's wait till next year to see that. Have to wait a whole year.
Oh yeah. Well, it was a pretty short year from the last Star Wars movie,
That is
so I
true.
don't think it'll be too
It
long.
did feel pretty short. But yeah, so I think that's about all. So, is there any final thoughts before we end this?
No, not really. I recommend that you see it if you haven't already.
Definitely. I mean, it'll probably. I would say for somebody who has seen a lot of the Star Wars movies and is already a Star Wars fan, I guess it would be a better movie for you if you are a Star Wars fan, just because there's a lot of things hinting towards other Star Wars movies. But even if you're not, I feel like it would be like a good action movie or whatever. So
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, go see it. I think
It definitely has some elements of like other action movies and stuff like that.
and it has a lot of elements of like war movies too. So if you like war movies, I guess it'd be good. So yeah, go see it, and I would definitely recommend going to see it. I would say probably one of the best movies I saw in theaters this year.
Oh yeah,
Definitely,
same,
definitely.
I agree.
I've seen some bad movies in theaters too, like Suicide Squad. um, uh, yeah, good movie. Go see it. Yeah, and that's about all I have to say about it. So, yep,
Yep.
that has been the first video of this type that I've ever done. I guess in a sense I'm doing it with somebody else too. So yeah, let us know if there's any type of video you think we should do on this channel, because this channel is going to be mostly just collaboration type videos where we do like big group videos. And there's going to be obviously the podcast is going to be on here, and let us know what you think of this video, because this is the first, I guess, movie review I've ever done. I don't know if it's probably the first one you've ever done, maybe.
Oh yeah, this is the first one I've done.
So yeah, let us know what you think of it, and let us know what you think of Rogue One too, if you liked it. Some things that we didn't point out that you noticed about it, I guess. And let us know if you want us.
Leave all that stuff down below.
Let us know if you want us to continue doing movie reviews. I mean, we'll probably do one every year for Star Wars, whatever new Star Wars movie comes out. I would assume we would. But yeah, so leave all that in the comments.
Definitely.
We'll definitely respond to it, because, well, why not? So yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.